think it's a sign of maturity and the ability to have insight to distinguish the difference between the tools that God gives us. The tools of understanding, which become then tools that help us implement or export the treasures that God gives us. I'd like to point our attention to somebody named Chris Blackaby, a friend of mine, been in my home a number of times, and I've done ministry with him out in meetings. And look up on the web his teaching about 30, 60, and 100-fold. And I don't want to take the time now to unpack everything here, except to just an overview of when we first came to Christ. Most of us probably were in an evangelical setting, so we believed in getting saved, but we didn't know too much else, and we might call that 30-fold. We're not trying to make a doctrine or a theology here, we're just an illustration. And then we moved into charismatic Pentecostal, like, whoa, there's gifts and Holy Spirit and tongues and words of knowledge, and this is really wonderful. And so that we might call that 60-fold. So we're waiting for heaven to come rest upon us. We're asking, Holy Spirit, come empower me. Empower me, Holy Spirit. Then we learn there's a heavenly realm, and that we can walk in all things all the time. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? So we find ourselves blessed with all spiritual blessings in the heavenly places. It's like, oh my goodness, that's right there, hidden in plain sight. But I can live in the heavenly places, and I don't have to call myself a 60-fold prophet or an evangelist or a teacher. I don't have to call myself any of that, because now I'm a son who can do all of those. Now here's a great example of that. Jesus, who was the Son of God, part of the Trinity. And he said, you know what? It is not condescending to me to come down to earth and put on flesh, to become flesh so that I could win some. Of course, sacrifice for all. Paul said it this way, I'm all things to all men in order that I might win some. So, some of those tools, especially when we come into the heavenly crowd, the people who are working in the heavenly, we won't be able to use the lower tools anymore, because it's just like, it doesn't have relevance to them. But if we step down in the evangelical crowd, it's like we won't be able to use the charismatic 60-fold tools. We'll have to go down into the tools that mean something to them, are relevant to them. And usually that's things like healing. Help them at their point of their felt need. Because their biggest world right now is their felt need. And so can you help them at their point of their felt need? And so when we find ourselves in the heavenlies, in the appropriate settings, we can use any of the tools from the 30, 60, or 100, just like Jesus did when he stepped out of heaven and stepped down into the harlots and the drunks. He stepped down in their world. I don't know. I'm just going to imagine the best thing he gave them was friendship and joy. Friendship and joy. Like, what could they relate to? Help me out. I feel lonely and depressed, and I need a friend. And Jesus comes. He was the friend of sinners. And so then he comes along to the 60-fold, the disciples maybe, and he's one thing to them. And of course, we didn't have too many heavenly people during Jesus's day yet. Anyway, you get a little overview there. And I want to go back to my first point regarding that is, I think it is a sign of maturity to have insight to know the difference between those tools. What are those tools fashioned for? What level, what sphere of influence will they be best suited for? So I don't want to bring 30-fold tools into the 100-fold crowd. They're probably going to say, like, well, okay, So much for that, And the same thing is true. I probably don't want to bring 100-fold tools down into the 30-fold. Like, hey guys, let's all do some levitation here, and let's all travel in the Spirit. They're gonna like, what? So, learning the tools that are appropriate for the environment that we're in, just like Jesus and just like Paul.